What's up, everyone? It is Denise Salcedo. Welcome back to the channel. I am very excited to introduce to you my guest for today. You've probably have had her theme song stuck in your head on a loop for a while now, but ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Ruby Soho. What's up, Ruby?
Hi, how are you?
I'm doing so good. I gotta tell you, I was very, very excited when I found out I was gonna be doing this interview with you because you're just like the nicest person. And I've been so happy for you seeing all the success that you've had in AEW. But before we get to all the nitty gritty stuff, I do want to ask you, Ruby, how was your Halloween weekend?
Oh, amazing. Amazing. I had a nice little get together here at my home with some of my friends. We did some board games and just a relaxing little night. We had a costume party. I was Dexter from Dexter's Laboratory.
That's so cute.
And I dressed my animals up as my two dogs were Winnie the Pooh and Tigger. And my cat, my little naked cat, was Piglet. So yeah, it was a great time. It was good. So and I ate a lot of candy and yeah, it's my favorite holiday. So it was wonderful. Thank you.
That's exactly how you do Halloween. You got to get the costumes, get the candy, have a nice time with friends and
Mhm.
family. That is super awesome. So, speaking of awesome, I kind of mentioned to you before we started this interview that, I got to see you at All Out, make your debut, have this incredible moment. And immediately after we did the media scrum, and you were just like so happy. It was so good to see you just like, just your emotions out there, So, Ruby, I know this is a broad question, but before we get into the specifics, I do want to ask you, how has your time been with AEW so far since you first debuted at AEW All Out?
It's honestly, it's been a dream. I don't even know if I have words for it, just because I enjoy coming to work so much, and I feel so lucky every day that I get to like look at the locker room that I am a part of, and I hear the fans from start to finish from every show that we're on in every city that we're in be so grateful and appreciative and into it, and really enjoying everything that we're doing, and the product that we're putting out, and to be a part of the growth of this company. Like, we're just getting started, and I'm so excited to be on this journey, but we've already hit so many milestones in the short period of time I've even been here. So I'm really grateful, and I'm really excited to see where this company goes, and the lengths that we're going to reach. And I'm very, very, very happy to just be a part of the team.
You mentioned milestones, and this brings me into my next question because we need to talk about AEW Dynamite Grand Slam. And that's the thing, like, wow, you got this incredible opportunity. So right after you debut, you get into this program with Britt Baker. You guys have some nice, really great stuff back and forth on the mic, a lot of really good lines in there. But on top of that, you and Britt Baker main evented possibly one of the biggest AEW Dynamite shows that they've had. So I want to start off by asking you what that meant to you to main event with Britt Baker at AEW Dynamite Grand Slam.
It meant so much more than just like a really big match, or just a title match, or even just, it meant to me like that, that AEW, like, that they trusted me. And that to me means the world, because I want to be able to grab the ball and for them to never see it again. I want to be able to be a part of these milestones and to be a part of these things. And on a show that has Bryan Danielson and Kenny Omega in it, and for us to be the main event was huge to me. I still have a hard time like being on the same flyers as them, seeing like CM Punk and Bryan Danielson, Kenny Omega, and then there's me. Like, it's still mind blowing to me. I still can't wrap my brain around it. But it was an honor, honestly. This was a historical AEW Dynamite, not just because we're performing in the stadium that has never seen wrestling in it, and we're having this insane amount of people, the most crowd that I believe that we've performed in front of. And I was a part of the main event, and I had just gotten here. So I felt spoiled. I felt honored. I felt pressure. I felt all of these things. So the fact that I was trusted enough to be in that position, meant the world to me. And I really felt in that moment that I had to deliver.
I was curious about that, the pressure, because obviously, there's got to be pressure. And I just feel like, being like where you were at before and where you were that night, it was like, this tremendous growth in your career. And this is just an outsider's perspective. So to be able to see that for you, how did you sort of, handle the pressure? Did you give yourself like any sort of like mental speeches, like, okay, this is what I got to do? What mentality did you get yourself to be able to deliver the performance that you guys did?
Yeah, I definitely had a couple pep talks with myself, I think. I had kind of taken the reaction that I had gotten from All Out, these amazing fans that, had given me a reception that I will never forget. And the feedback I'd gotten, online and in person and meet and greets and stuff, before that, that people were happy to see me here. And in that moment, I kind of had to take a look at it and be like, okay, well, now I got to show them why they were happy to see me in the first place. You know what I mean? So it was definitely something where I needed to do that, not only for them, but also for myself. I hadn't been put in that position in, either ever or a number of years at least, but I just needed to prove to myself I can still do it. Like, this is where I belong. This is where I'm supposed to be. And so it was a lot of proving to myself, proving to them, like, this is why you are happy to see me. And, proving to Tony, this is why you allowed me to be a part of this historical, Dynamite and to main event it. Like, so it was a lot of proving. And so it was a big pep talk, but at the end of the day, it was one of those things where, everything kind of fell into place so perfectly with AEW. And I had to just tell myself, like, this is why you were meant to be here. Like, this is why this place is home, because this is where you're supposed to be and you're here for a reason. So it was a lot of pep talks I had to do.
How did you feel afterwards? Once the job is done and, the reception that you guys got, what was the feedback afterwards from people like Tony Khan and even from yourself? Like, how did you feel?
I was proud, for sure. I was proud to be able to be a part of that moment. It's hard in those moments, especially, with so much riding on everything, the title's on the line and everything. So it's hard to take a second and really absorb everything. It probably wasn't until a few days later where I really got to absorb everything, because the adrenaline is just crazy. And then I take that moment whenever I come out. Like, that smile that creeps across my face is so real.
Oh, you can tell.
It really is. It just, I can't help but, feel so grateful. It helps that I have like the raddest entrance music in professional wrestling, but it really is pure, because I'm just so happy to be there and for the fans and everything like that. And then afterwards, the response that I get and from, Tony was ecstatic, and it wasn't one of those things where it was a big deal that women main evented it, but it wasn't like the focal point of, I'm trying to figure out how to word it. It wasn't like the focal point, like, this is a women's main event. Like, no, this is just a very important title main event. Like, so that's what kind of made me feel really good about it, that it wasn't just that we were women. It was that this was a high caliber match. And so I felt very proud to be a part of that and to have gotten the steam that we got behind it in kind of a short period of time. So I was definitely really proud of everything.
And I think that's the way that it definitely should be. Like, I love the way that, like you mentioned, was presented as, these are two competitors. They've been telling this hot story. And with that being said, Britt Baker right now is at the very top of her game. What was it like sort of stepping in with her and going, like I mentioned, head to head in terms of mic work, and then you guys go in and, have this match? What was it like working with Britt?
Britt has continuously impressed me over the last few years, just watching her. I knew her when she first broke in on the independents, and when she was just bright-eyed, bushy-tailed, and just ready to learn everything, and super new to the game. And seeing her growth over the last few years has been incredibly, incredibly impressive. But stepping into the ring with her and, going toe to toe on the mic with her, is a completely different story. I was even more so impressed because I was seeing a completely different woman in front of me than I had seen years ago. The amount of growth that she's done is very impressive. There's a reason why she is our champion in this moment. So I have to say I was very impressed with her, but also at the same time I had to remind myself, I've been doing this for a while, and I knew her when she was that like new girl on the block. So I had to kind of give myself yet another pep talk and be like, okay, you're meant to be here. And so like, if you want to make it here, you got to roll with the big dog. So
yeah,
that's what I had to do.
And you guys definitely did, man. Like, I feel like after like what you guys were doing, I was just like, oh my God, just the kind of like the back and forth and, just like really both of you keeping up with each other. It really just benefited the both of you, really. So now let's go ahead and talk about the TBS Women's Championship tournament that we have right now. This is very exciting. So far we've seen a couple of matches now, but before we get into the actual, the brackets and all of that, I do have to ask you, you joined the company, you have this match with Britt Baker, and then this big announcement is made that, hey, there's going to be a TBS Women's Championship. What was your initial reaction to that? And like, how do you feel about the belt coming into the company?
Oh, I was thrilled. I like I was saying, it's just crazy to me that I've been here for such a short period of time and so many milestones have already happened, which just shows how quick and fast the growth of this company is happening, and how seriously all of us are taking, pride in our work and in representing AEW. So it made me even more proud to be a part of the team, to kind of, make history as, like as one of the first companies to have a title like this one. And I think that the importance that has been placed on the tournament itself, and how seriously all of us are taking it, the matchups are absolutely amazing, is really showing how important this title is to our division as a whole. Like, we all now have something else to fight for, and it's going to create even more amazing mashups that have so much more at stake. And now, especially with this, being part of history, all of us want to be a part of history. So we all want to be the first. Everybody wants to be the first, because no one ever forgets the first. So it's so much is at stake, and so much is riding on this. So it's just bringing out the absolute most I'm trying to think of the word, like most amazing fight that we all have. Like, we're reaching deep down as much as we can because we want to be the champion. And I think it's really amazing what AEW is doing. It's just making milestones, not only in the company itself, but in the women's wrestling industry as well.
So you mentioned everybody wants to be the first because nobody ever forgets the first. What would it mean to you to be the first?
Oh, it would mean everything. I think it would be, it would be validation for sure for the last 11 years of my career. It's not just like validation since I've been here. It's been validation since my previous time, with WWE. It's been since my previous time on the independents, working for, $10 and driving 12 hours and, the cars breaking down and things like that. I have never held a title on national television in the time span that I've been a part of it. And I really feel like this is something that, making history and being the first and representing that title with, with honor and fighting, tooth and nail to ideally defend it would mean the world to me. And so I am going to do absolutely whatever I can to be that for that first champion, for sure.
I got to tell you, I felt chills right now all over my body when you said, like, I had never, you talk about, the struggles of, even before WWE, making it there and then getting to AEW and all of that. But then you add the fact that you've never been able to hold a championship on national television. And I'm just like, ooh, like, if you were to have that moment, like, oh my God. But let's talk about this too, because there are 12 women who all want the exact same thing. You've already defeated Penelope Ford. You're going into the quarterfinals to face off against Chris Statlander. So with the women in the tournament, who are some of the ones that you're hoping you get a match with? And if you do make it to the finals, who do you want us to have as your opponent during the finals?
Ooh, So that's so hard. So I looked at this bracket and the like everybody involved in it, and I was blown away because I was like, I want to face all of these women, like all of them. And I was just saying the other day that like if the title is not enough of an incentive to advance in the tournament, the women I want to face and the matches I want is another incentive in and of itself. When I was looking at the bracket and how it lined up, Chris Statlander alone, I have been a huge fan of Chris for a very long time. She broke in right as I left the independents, and she's so impressive, super strong, crazy athletic. And I have wanted to work against her for a long, long time. I am a huge Serena Deeb fan, huge. I have been a fan of hers for years and years and years, since Shimmer in Independence. I, again, also Shimmer, Sheeta was another one that I was super, super, super big fan of. And as well as like Nyla Rose. Since I've seen her work and her growth, since she was the very first, AEW Women's World Champion. She's got a strong possibility of doing it again. She's been in this position before, so it's a lot of pressure, but it's also a lot of excitement because I know every single one of those women, if I step across the ring from them, they're going to bring out a different kind of fight in me. It's going to be a different challenge, a different hurdle. So I just really, really hope that I can get to the end in any of them. I think I have some unfinished business with Thunder Rosa. So it would be interesting to see her in the finals. Jade is super impressive. I have seen her recently up close and seeing how naturally talented she is. It's kind of scary to me that she just picks up on stuff really easy and is crazy strong. So any one of those I would be honored to face.
And that's the good thing. Like you mentioned, like I feel like this tournament is just adding so much more depth and so much story to the AEW women's division. I mean, you mentioned Sheeta and Serena Deeb alone. They just had a fantastic match.
A clinic. They put on a clinic.
They really did.
My gosh. Like if women in the professional wrestling industry don't watch that match and get motivated and inspired, like I don't know what will. Because it was incredibly impressive, and I could watch those two wrestle each other every day forever.
It was so good to see, like, even all the feedback of everybody saying, like, that was match of the night. And I was like, hell yeah. And it's women. Booyah,
100%.
So, Ruby, I feel like I can chat with you forever. We got a couple minutes left. So I am going to go ahead and move on to our lightning round game where I'm going to ask you 10 random questions about yourself. And we're just going to get to learn. We're going to get to learn a little bit more about you. So I can't wait. Let's go ahead and do this. So Ruby,
let's go.
Here we go. Question number 1. What was the first and last concert that you attended?
Okay. First concert ever was Less Than Jake. Last concert I attended was the Misfits in Chicago.
Oh, so good. Okay, I love the Misfits too. Do you have a favorite? What's your favorite Misfits song?
I'm always super partial to Die Die My Darling. It's just a classic, and it's so much fun to sing in the concert because everybody knows the words to all of that, so everybody's screaming it. So yeah, I love Die Die My Darling for sure. And Last Caress for sure.
Oh yeah. Question number 2. What was the last TV show that you binge watched?
You, the new season of You. Oh no, that's a lie. I've watched Squid Games since then.
Yes.
After that, so You and then Squid Games. I didn't know if I would like Squid Games, but I was hooked, and I watched it in one night. Don't tell anybody.
What did you think of You? Did you think it was like the best season?
I don't know if it was the best, but I did love it. It did not disappoint by any means. I am super partial to the first season. I think because it's super simplistic. There's not as many other elements involved in it without, having any spoilers by any means, but there's not as many elements, and it's super just about like the two characters, the main characters. So I'm very partial to the first season, but the third season was awesome.
I feel like every episode was just like something new, something dramatic.
It's just so well done. I love that show.
So good. Question number 3. Do you remember what the last thing you purchased is?
The last thing I purchased? Halloween candy, I think.
Smart.
Yeah.
Question number 4. You're starting a band and you get to pick any 4 people to join you. Who are they? They could be famous, non-famous, doesn't matter.
Okay, musicians or just people in general?
It could be musicians, it could
Anything.
be wrestlers, it could be anybody.
Okay. I've thought about this question before. Lars Fredrickson is number one. Joan Jett is number two.
Ooh, yes.
I can't roll up my sleeve, but she's tattooed on my arm. Number two, so I have four. Robbie Brookside, which is weird because he's not obviously a musician, but he's like my punk Yoda. Like that man knows absolutely everything there is to know about punk rock. And then Danzig.
Oh, nice.
I think this is my crew. It's a weird group of people, but I'm here for it.
It sounds like a badass crew. I love it.
Oh, yeah.
Question number 5. What is your favorite restaurant?
Favorite restaurant? I think I'm gonna have to go. It's definitely always holds a place in my heart, mainly because of the rolls, is Texas Roadhouse. The cinnamon butter rolls. I used to work there, and I think I gained like 15 pounds when I worked there because I ate those rolls nonstop.
And you're like, and it was worth it.
It was worth every minute of it.
Question number 6. Name me your top 3 favorite movies.
Ooh, that's hard. I love horror movies. It's probably my favorite genre. I would have to say top 3 movies would be Hereditary, Suspiria, and then I'm going to go with the one that's not a horror movie, which is Usual Suspects.
Ooh,
So,
okay.
yeah,
I'm going to add this to my list.
Those are the 3 quality movies.
I love that. Question number 7. What's the best way to spend a day off?
Ooh, best way to spend the day off. I usually spend my days off with my animals. I have 3 horses, 2.5 really. I have 2 bigs and a mini. And then I have 2 dogs and a naked cat. So I have like a whole freak show going on in my house. So I spend a lot of time probably riding horses or, taking my dogs for walks and stuff like that. So probably just spending time with my animals and hanging out.
That is beautiful. Does it take I can imagine it takes a lot of work to take care of one horse, better yet 3.
Yes. And they're all very high maintenance and just, they wouldn't be my animals if they weren't super high maintenance. All of my animals are for whatever reason. But they're all worth it. They're amazing. And I've built a very peaceful life out here, I think. So I'm very grateful.
They're like, Mom, we need the good quality hay.
100% good quality hay. One of my horses has asthma, which I didn't even think horses could get asthma. One of my horses has asthma. The other one's a senior horse. My cat is naked, so she always needs sweaters. One of my dogs is a Shar Pei. He's super wrinkly, and so he just needs all the attention all the time. So yeah, I really scored big with all 6 of them.
Oh, that's so cute. I'm sure it's like so worth it. I love that. It's so cute.
It is, for sure.
Question number 8. What's the nicest thing a fan has ever done for you?
Ooh, that is hard. See, I get fans that like draw me pictures, and I get fans that like make me little figurines. Any fan art, like when people paint me or draw me in cartoon version, is amazing to me. But I think the most meaningful one that I got one time, I had sent a video to a girl who was having a little bit of a hard time, and her mom just sent me the most meaningful message about what it meant to her and what I mean to her, I guess. And it's very humbling in those moments where you're just like, wow, like this has an impact, like a bigger impact than I see on a day-to-day basis. Like we know it, but we don't always see it. And the mother sending me this really heartfelt message about how much she appreciated it was, something that I will hold to my heart for the rest of my life. It was really beautiful. So those things mean the most to me, for sure.
That's so beautiful, because that's when you really help someone. That's amazing.
Yeah.
Question number 9. If you can become an expert in something by tomorrow, what would it be?
Oh,
like magically, you'd become an expert.
Magically. Expert. Done. I think the first thing that comes to mind is something that I'm working on, that I'm hoping, at least hopefully by the end of the year, I will be able to do well. I'm working on learning sign language. So I would love it's very difficult. There's a lot more to it than I because I knew a little bit when I was young, but like there's a lot more to it than I had ever realized. And obviously, it's a new language. So I think if I could be it tomorrow and just be fluent in sign language, I would be a very happy girl.
That is so awesome. Question number 10, last question. What's the craziest thing you feel you've ever done?
The craziest thing I feel I've ever done. Oh Lord. I don't know.
You're like, what's safe to say?
Okay, I guess this is kind of crazy. This is a really weird story, so I'll shorten it a little bit. But one time I went to jail for driving with a suspended license. I didn't know it was suspended. I had moved and I had insurance, but just not in the state that I moved to. And I got, please provide proof of insurance within 30 days. And they sent it to my old address. So I never got it. And then it got suspended and I didn't know it. And so I got pulled over for something silly, probably like going a couple miles over, and they found out my license was suspended. So I went to jail. They take you to jail for that, by the way. I went to jail.
God.
And I was in Indiana in an area that apparently one of the deputies was a fan. I was on the Indies. I wasn't, assigned anywhere by that point. He was a fan. And while I was in the cell, he came into the cell and asked me for an autograph.
No.
So I signed an autograph in jail. So, yeah.
You're like, you're going to help me out here?
It's ridiculous. Yeah. So he was like, hey, at the time, he's like, Heidi Lovelace, how are you? And I was like, oh, a bit better. And yeah, he was like, oh, when's the next time I'm going to see you in Indianapolis? I was like, it just kind of depends on how all this plays out. And after that, he asked me for an autograph. I was like, okay, but can you get me out of here? No. All right. Just see you later. It was crazy. So yeah, I guess that's the craziest thing.
It's like trippy because like one moment you're like having like the worst day of your life, and then the next it's like, well, okay, like I'll sign you this autograph.
Yeah. It was crazy.
That's
it was
amazing.
A crazy thing. Yeah,
I love that story. That's
ridiculous.
Amazing. Well,
yeah, so y'all check your licenses. Make sure they're not suspended before you get pulled over, because you go to jail for that. By the way.
I'm going to check mine right after
today.
This. Yeah. Honestly. Ruby, I want to thank you so much for sharing that story with me, for doing this interview with me. You're so much fun to talk to, and I'm pretty sure we'll get to chat pretty soon again. But Ruby, before we go, please feel free to plug in anything you'd like to plug in.
If you want to follow me on stuff, I am at the real Ruby Soho on everything. I am starting a Twitch channel soon, as soon as I can figure out how to do it. It's a lot. And then make sure that you tune in to Dynamite every Wednesday and Rampage every Friday, and check out Full Gear because it's coming up soon. And and then come and see us at shows. Check it out. Go to AEW's website and see when we're in a city near you.
Amazing. Thank you so much, Ruby. Until next time, we'll see you guys later. Bye, everyone.
Thank you. Bye.